Okay, you're...
If anybody in the whole world needs a kitchen makeover, it's probably me. There's been nothing done to my kitchen in over 20 years.
Cut.
As you
Full close.
They do it over there, but we don't do it here.
Hi, Regis and Kathy Lee. If anybody in the whole world needs a kitchen, it's probably me.
Start over.
Litigator. Those are the scariest kinds of lawyers. Even Lucy, our maid, is terrified of him. And Daddy's so good, he gets $500 an hour to fight with people. But he fights with me for free because I'm his daughter. Daddy!
Hi, Regis and Kathy Lee. If anybody in the whole world needs a new kitchen makeover, it's probably me. My kitchen hasn't had any remodeling done in over 20 years. It is really dark and dreary. I would love to have things cheered up around here. My kitchen will need to be something sturdy and practical since I have a daycare here in my home. I would love to have maybe a work center right around in here to keep my fax machines and do my paperwork and stuff. As you can see, I put all my notes on my cabinets. I use this for a bulletin board. But if I had a work center right around in here, it would just really help me out and would be really handy. We use this door to go in and out to the playground, and as you can see, my blinds are a terrible mess because the kids, well, they break them off going in and out here. I would love to have this sliding patio door spiced up. My appliances are old and copper tone color. I would love to have a new stove and a new dishwasher to match. And of course, my kitchen window is a mess. Time and money is short. I would love to be your kitchen makeover grand prize winner. As you can see, I really need it.
Good job.
Why do you put up...
Take some more, you better get back there. There they are.
Jump in here and get this picture.
Wait a minute, we don't know which one is yours.
Now, could all conversations...
Pleasure to welcome you to our summer graduation 1997. This is an evening of celebration for our graduates and for families who have helped them get through a long period of time. In some cases 18 months, in some cases 2 years, in some cases a little bit longer. But this is a night of celebration and a night you think back on all of those dinners you missed and all of the things that had to be put on hold because school was a priority. I think this is the first graduation class, as I told them at breakfast this morning, that I've really gotten to know quite a few of the students. We're very proud of this class. It's a class of strong individuals. It's a class of people who pay attention to what goes on. And we're very, very proud to graduate these students tonight. Would you please join me in welcoming to the podium Randy Roof, who will deliver our invocation.
Members of the board, faculty, honored guests, lastly, not least, graduates. It sounds pretty good, but not quite yet. Still, you can linger with the knowledge that will soon be. Ladies and gentlemen, let me try to explain to you what my purpose in being up here tonight. As the salutatorian of E255, I want to take the traditional approach as salutatorian to do the salutatory, or what it's supposed to be is the initial greeting at any commencement. I'm not going to stand up here and give our graduates any keys to the future, because I'm certain that Dr. Green is going to do a very good job of that himself. But I have asked for this opportunity just so I, in my own way, can honor these marvelous candidates for degrees here. Now, you, the audience out there, are a viable and very important part of everything that's going on here tonight. And consequently, I'm going to try to explain to you what this is all about. And as Mr. Ackerman has already so eloquently said, this is a night of celebration. And that's exactly what it is. One word, celebration. Now, we as human beings have celebrated things virtually all our life. Anything that's near and dear to us. We look for any kind of an excuse, actually. But most of the time when we celebrate, it's because of achievement or some level of success that we've gotten. And then we celebrate that act or that fact. Now, our forefathers used to celebrate such things as a successful hunt or a successful fishing trip because they knew when they came back that their families would be a whole lot better. Out here, these people know the same thing. They've tasted the success of it, and they know that their families are in fact going to prosper through their own individual efforts. Now, about 10,000 years ago, once again, we human beings discovered how to actually cultivate crops and to domesticate animals. So it gave us another reason to celebrate, and we have ever since. We've been basically giving thanks for harvest and things like that ever since. We carry on the tradition of Thanksgiving, and certainly tonight is no exception. We are here giving thanks as well. Now, some societies throughout history even celebrate mundane things like death. The Indians, for example, or should I be more politically correct and say Native Americans, Native Americans used to in fact celebrate death. The older elders of their particular society very revered because they were the ones the holder of the corporate knowledge of that particular tribe. When it was time for them to go, time to die, the elder would simply say, "This is a good day to die. Let's celebrate life." Because in their society they believed that it wasn't an end, but a beginning. Hopefully, education purposes, this is not going to be an end, but simply a beginning for you people out in the world. Now, I can sit up here and point out 100 different situations, but to bring it all together, what this is all about, as I said, it's one word. It's a celebration. And tonight, this group right here is going to celebrate one thing, their achievement. Some of them it's taken as many as 3 years to 18 months. All in all, they've all done a decent job. Most of them done great jobs. Now, over the last 24 months, I have had the unique opportunity of actually studying our students' lives on a day-to-day basis, because I too have been a student along with them. And believe me, it has been a truly humbling and eye-opening experience. To watch these students come in after working a full day or working a full night and literally drag themselves into class, work hard to get their work in, and just overcome all kinds of obstacles. As I said, it was a remarkable thing. The written papers, lab drawings, speeches, practice interviews, tests, and long weekends spent trying to catch up what we hadn't done throughout the week, which you in the audience probably know more than you want to admit. And it's because of that, because of the fact that you too, all you folks out there, your loved ones and everything, have in fact suffered along with us. I would like to take the opportunity on behalf of all the people sitting down here to offer you a special thanks. Thank you. Without your support, it would have never happened. Now, my closing remarks are actually to you grads now. I'm going to, actually break with what I just promised, that I wasn't going to give you any pointers or anything like this. But in a few minutes, you're going to walk across this stage, flip your tassels, and actually be graduating. So I'm going to have one more shot at you. Although I know the majority of you probably don't want any more advice that you haven't gotten from me already in the last 2 years. But just remember, please remember, education is not just for today. Education is a lifelong process. Mr. Ferguson out there and myself, if you can look at how old we are when we came back to school, just show yourself. Never, never stop learning. Also, since you have that education and now you're going for that job out there, here's one little hint. Don't just be satisfied with getting money from an employer. Make him teach you something. Make him make you more valuable. Look for education and training in every single road that you possibly can. And that way you become more valuable to him, more valuable to his rivals out there as well. And lastly, go ahead and celebrate. And I know that the majority of you are probably going to also celebrate the marvelous crop harvest of some of the barley and malt farmers have had in the last couple of years as well. But what I want to say is, just be careful. It's not worth throwing away all this hard work over one moment of driving when you shouldn't. My last comment is strictly on a personal note. I want to say how proud and truly honored I am to have called you my classmates. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Bob. When I arrived in Tennessee about a year and a half ago, one of the first people I met was Dr. Joe Green. Dr. Joe Green has become a good friend of ITP Technical Institute. He holds a Doctor of Philosophy degree in vocational education from Texas A&M University. In addition to extensive private sector experience, he has 28 years professional experience in education. His experience includes teaching, administration, consultation, and assessment, research, program development, writing, marketing, and professional development. He is a technical assistance provider for the National School to Work Office. Dr. Green has served as a consultant to schools in Texas, Tennessee, Washington State, Michigan, Kentucky, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Quite a good thing. His workshops and training help to form effective teams for quality production and service. Dr. Green is currently director of Tennessee Technology Center in Hartsville, and in less than a year, he's facilitated changes that have more than doubled the enrollment of that center, and I've been up there and seen it. He's doing a wonderful job. He's dedicated to service and the pursuit of quality through teamwork. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Joe Green.
It's a true pleasure to be with you again. Mr. Ackerman, Mr. Rook, Mr. Fairbanks, platform guests, graduates, families, and friends. It's an honor to speak to you tonight. I'll be very brief. I've been taking notes. You might have noticed while Mr. Allen was speaking, and I've got my speech prepared. He's delivered to you some eloquent remarks that are right on target. And as I conclude in a few minutes, I will echo one of his remarks as one that we must not forget. Before we get too far into this, I need to survey you. I need to find out a little bit about you. I got the survey off the internet just this afternoon, and so if you will accommodate me by raising your left hand each time I ask you one of these questions. This is an MIT. You all know what MIT is, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. You may want to go there one of these days. And so you need to see if you can pass this MIT exam. Number one, all graduates and current students, sorry, left hand, have you ever used a computer? Raise your left hand, please. All right, now lower them. Have you ever programmed a computer? Raise your left hand if you've done so. Excellent. All right, passing the test so far. Have you ever built a computer? Raise your hand if you've done that. Hey, that's remarkable. Now, have you done number two continuously for more than 4 hours? Number two, if you recall, now, was have you ever programmed a computer? More than 4 hours. Raise that left hand real high. Let's let everybody see it. All right, very good. And then, have you done number two for continuously for more than 8 hours? Raise your left hand. All right, now, final question. How many of you have majored in electronic engineering or CAD technology at any point in your education history? Raise your left hand. Okay, now I can see by that none of you are the person that called Dell Computers in Austin, Texas, to ask the helpline this question. Helpline, I cannot get my computer started. I've pushed and I've pushed and I've pushed on that foot pedal, and that switch just won't turn the computer on. The help desk fellow is a friend of mine in Dell Computers there in Austin. He scratched his head and he tried to figure out where she could have gotten the foot pedal. And then finally figured out through several questions and answers that it had 3 buttons on it. And it turned out it was the Logitech mouse. And so I'm glad to know that wasn't you. Now that you've been through all that you've been through, you have some things to look back on that you should be very, very proud of tonight. I'm really impressed with you. I'm impressed with your choice at various ages. Some of you are very young, maybe very recently out of high school. Many of you are approaching midlife and beyond. You have chosen to prepare yourself to serve your families, yourself, your communities, your state, and indeed your nation very well with what you're doing. America's in crisis. You may know of many crises, but economically, we're truly in a point of crisis as to where our standard of living will be as we move into the 21st century. We're faced with the choice of high skills or low wages, because as we can now compete on the global scale, we're going to either produce a new type of product, a new type of service, that'll be on demand throughout the world and maintain a high and increasing standard of living, or we'll continue to do things the way we've always done them and accept whatever is given to us and do an ordinary job every day and watch our wages fall to third world level. You have taken the choice to do something about this. You're doing more than you realize. You're helping to turn the tide in the future of America's economy, which affects your family and affects your community. You've decided to choose education as the route to build high skills and to contribute to a new type of product, a new type of service for the United States. Companies that are surviving, Tennessee has garnered more than its share of manufacturing and productive industry over the last 10 to 20 years, and now stands poised to be a manufacturing leader throughout the U.S. The thing that's making the difference is that companies in Tennessee are choosing to produce quality products and quality services. They're choosing the quality initiatives that were started by W. Edwards Deming many years ago. Shortly after World War II, Mr. Demings had an idea of a different way of producing products, a different way of working in which management and workers would work together in participatory management and build high-quality products and produce services that would be in high demand. Because we were doing quite well at the time, we'd already survived the Depression and the war economy had made us very productive, nobody really wanted to listen to Mr. Demings. So, with nobody buying his products, then the U.S. was trying to help Japan recover from the damages of the war. And so Mr. Demings was invited to help in that process. His theories and his philosophies of quality in work were adopted very rapidly in Japan, and you know the rest of the story. Japan thrived and indeed became very competitive on the worldwide scale. In recent years, American companies, and now many Tennessee companies throughout the state, have adopted the same types of philosophies of believing in quality. And I'd like to talk to you about a few of those. I'd like for you to think about them on 3 levels. I'd like for you to think about them on the level of the companies that you may already work with or the ones that you're just preparing to go work for. And I'd like for you to think about them in the culture of the workplace, the people that you'll be working with. And I'd like for you to think about them on a personal level, how they affect you and your contribution to your job, to your family, and to your community. There are 5 points I'd like to discuss very quickly. And the first one is that of insistence on quality. I'm sure your wonderful faculty that has helped you to reach this day and proudly reach the day of knowing that you have accomplished something truly worthy in your furthering of your career. That your faculty has insisted on quality. They've demanded the very best of you, and sometimes it's demanded more than you thought you could even produce. But as you now move into changes in career or continuation and growth in your career or new careers, you want to be a part of a team that produces high quality at every turn. Whether it's a product that you produce, whether it's a service, you need to make sure that you set the benchmarks high and you identify the very best of products, the best in precision and the best in service, and hold yourself to that standard every day. A company that does that succeeds. An employee who does that succeeds. And in America, we will succeed if we follow that rule. The second is that of teamwork and participatory management. We're finding out now in America that instead of management having all the ideas, engineers holding all of the designs, that we build teams, and engineers and frontline workers work together. Management and the workforce can collaborate and can build better products, can come up with ideas for new products. The Wilbur Company in Orville, Ohio went through a change process, and they had learned to do things differently. And they were a company that was getting ready to close, and all 350 employees would have gone out of work. But instead, they chose to learn to work together. The employees went back to school and got what they call mini MBAs. They got associate's degrees in a variety of areas, and they worked together. The engineers and frontline workers together came up with an amazing array of new product ideas. And they won contracts from competitors in Mexico, where low wages prevailed, and from Japan, where high quality and high precision were known to be the benchmark. Indeed, they, in 1 year, won 10 contracts from those two countries. So they began to, by working together in teams, do the job. And how can you work together in a team? Number one, you have to be willing to work with others. You have to be willing to see things through another's eyes. You have to be willing to value diversity and difference in individuals. And you have to be willing to not be shy and ashamed of speaking your thoughts. But as you speak your thoughts, you do them without degrading another. That's what makes for a good team member. The next point is customer focus. A company and an individual that can focus on the customer of the company, whether you're producing a product or a service, is going to be the one that makes for a winning company. You think about what the customer needs, what the customer expects, and be determined to deliver. The next is seeking and fixing faults. As we try to work within schools, as we try to work within our roles throughout the communities and in families and in our jobs, we have to be willing to recognize that there's always room to change and to improve. We have to be willing to look for faults because those are the things that keep us from achieving our best. So we look for faults and we gladly identify them, and then we work together to solve them. And as we fix those faults, whether they be needs in further education, or changes in the methodology, or the ways in which we work together, we can make our systems, we can make our families, we can make our workplaces stronger in our communities and our state of benefit. And the next thing is that Mr. Allen's already mentioned, continual education and training. We can't persist with the idea that we can go through 4 years of high school and claim then that we have become educated, because indeed we have become educated, but we haven't finished the job. We've only begun, because learning truly is a lifelong cycle. And when we stop learning, we really begin that stage of decline that moves towards death. So why not learn well past age 30, well past age 40, well past age 80, on into your 90s, and just keep learning for a lifetime. And I'd like to list some challenges for you, but before I had a list of my own, and I'm going to share them with you in just a moment. But I got another list off the internet, and knowing that you're all into technology now, I thought you might enjoy this. MIT has a set of philosophies, and there are some psychologists, some eminent psychologists who understand the psyche and really want you to make sure and improve your quality of life. And the psychologists have some advice for you. Number one is to stop denying, to listen to the wisdom of your body. Begin to freely admit the stresses and pressures which have manifested physically, mentally, and emotionally. Now MIT, which may not be unlike ITT Tech, I don't know, but MIT's view of this is work until the physical pain forces you into unconsciousness. You may see a little paradox here. The psychologists recommend avoid isolation. Do everything alone. Develop or renew intimacies with friends and loved ones. Closeness not only brings new insights, but also helps to alleviate depression. The MIT view is shut your office door, lock it from the inside so nobody will distract you. They're just trying to hurt your productivity. And the next is change your circumstances. If your job, your relationship, a situation, or a person is dragged under, or dragging you under, try to alter your circumstance. And if necessary, leave. MIT has a suggestion. If you feel something is dragging you down, suppress these thoughts. This is a weakness. You need to drink more coffee. And finally, keep your sense of humor. Bring to your job happy moments of your life. Very few people suffer burnout when they're having fun. The MIT view of this so you think work is funny. We'll discuss this with your director at Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Thank you for bearing those. If you'll check on the internet, you'll find quite a lot of them. I've never been very good at telling jokes, but I sure enjoy reading them. I got more laughs while I was reading these on the internet than I got from you while I read them. Now, I would like to share my version now. Here are some things, 5 points. I shared them with the graduates last year, and I'd like to share them with you. These are critically important, I think. Number 1 is, as you leave here, please go forth and treat others as you truly want to be treated. Next, love your family. Share with them the joy of living. Then, do ordinary work extraordinarily well. But don't stop there. Do something extraordinary. You owe it to yourself, to your family, and to your community. And finally, an echo of Mr. Allen's comment, never, never stop learning. Thank you.
I would like to introduce to you now our Director of Education, Randy Roof, who will be presenting some special awards.
Earned together with all of the appropriate honors, privileges, and responsibilities, in token of which you will be granted diplomas, after which you may adjust your tassel to the right. My congratulations to you. Please be seated. I will turn the podium over to Mr. Fairbanks.
Graduates, I now invite you to come forward to receive your diplomas. Rex Doors. Faye Kenyon. Christopher Rooker.
He ain't got up yet. He's still sitting there.
Tom Starling.
He's sitting on that second row there. Next to Jeremy was.
Roger Elsa. Michael Janowski.
These were 3-year people.
Richard Maples. Otis Matlock. Roger Nugent. Amanda Pig. Eric Smith. Robert Allen. John Applegate. Donald Austin. Mark Brandon.
Love. Randy Carter. Artie Cashin.
Come a long way from making mud pies on the driveway, isn't it?
John Dodd. James Ferguson. Jane George.
Graduates, be seated. I said earlier that I kind of felt this was a unique class. I've been doing this for about 26 years, and I've never had handshakes like that. I'll have to go home and soak this one. But congratulations, graduates. Now, as you go out this evening, certainly enjoy the evening. You've earned it. Celebrate. But I will echo the remarks made earlier. Be careful. You've gone too far and done too much. And we thank you for coming. And I will now turn the microphone over to Director of Education, Randy Root, for the benediction.
Well, we'll talk about a number of things as the graduates get ready to depart. We thank our makers for their stand, please. Father in heaven, we'd like to thank you for these graduates and thank you for their accomplishments, and that you would guide them in their lives as they continue along their road in their education and in their work, and that they would be useful and contribute to the society, and that you would stand by them as you promised you'd have, and guide them on their ship, so to speak, on their way through the journey of life and through employment. And we'd like to thank you for the many blessings that you have given them up to this time and the blessings you'll give them in the future. Amen.
And down, big brother.
Right. Damn. Gonna be on camera playing basketball. Come here. Damn. What are you gonna do?
Work on my mailbox.
Huh?
Work on the mailbox.
What kind of work? Well, that's the end of that.
Recording.
Brandon Paul Hawkins. Laurie K. Henry. Carrie Ann Hill. Kristen Lee Hill. Ashley Brianne Hughes. Alicia Brooke Kitty. Aaron Lee Killingsworth. James Alexander King.
He didn't have my remarks or my place to sit when I got here, but I am very delighted to be here, and I appreciate the fact that I've been invited. But I'm amazed at the number of you folks that I know. These are children who are children of children that I taught somewhere along the line, and that kind of ages me. I'm really proud to know that the heritage of education continues in McHenry County. Today I want to say a few things to the young people who are here. As Mr. Carroll alluded to earlier, you have reached a point in your life, a benchmark, if you will. There are many benchmarks that we reach in our lives, places where we cross over from one level to the next. And as we do that, there are many decisions that we have to make. The teachers here have been very careful to nurture and guide and protect you from things in the outside that might harm you, and to lead you in the path that they know that you need to go, and to help you develop your potentials in life. There are some things now that you're going to have to do on your own. I would challenge you to determine today the direction that you want your life to go. The choice is yours. It's not someone else's, it's yours. Do you want to contribute to society, or do you want to be dependent on society? Do you want to be an encourager, or do you want to be a constant complainer? Do you want to take responsibility for the things that happen to you, or do you want to constantly place blame on others? How you spend your life, the direction you go, whether you enjoy it or are very unhappy, is entirely up to you. I would challenge you today to determine to have a good attitude, to set goals. You need to set goals educationally. You need to determine to do your best, to do the best job you can, whether you're 2 years old or 13 years old. You need to determine what you want to do with your life. You need to determine today what kind of job you want to do. And then, once you've made that decision, you need to direct your education and the things that you do to attain that goal of the vocation you choose. And you need to determine today what kind of spiritual life you will have. And then you need to set your goal to get to that point in your life. You always want to be able to give something back to society. We live in a wonderful land, a land that's free, a land where we can make choices, a land where someone can come from nothing and be something. So we have many, many opportunities in the world that we live in, and you need to take advantage of those opportunities. And you need to give back to the community, because only by serving others can true success be attained. In this school and at home, your parents have helped you to learn some traits that will make you better character. They will help you develop good character. They have helped you develop characteristics of honesty. They've taught you right from wrong. They have helped you develop the characteristic of loyalty, integrity, and they've tried to help you develop good work ethic. Some of us are a little reluctant to learn that one. I would challenge you that regardless of what you want to do and what your goals are in life, that you would determine to be a person of good character. Someone once said that character is what you do when no one is looking. Think about that. Would you cheat on a test? Would you tell a lie? Would you pick up a CD at Walmart and not pay for it? Would you clean up your room? Would you do many things if you knew no one would know? Character is what you do when no one is looking. Today is a time when you need to think about who you are and who you want to be and how you want to be remembered. Determine now that you will be a person of good character. Gandhi, the great Indian leader, once said that people are not impressed by what you know, but by how you act. The Bible says that a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Choose today that you will protect your character and that you would always be a person of good character. A good education is important to you in attaining your goals for life. Determine now to take advantage of the opportunities you have. Set your goals mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually. Keep your eyes focused on your goals. There'll be many roadblocks ahead for you. There'll be many opportunities to veer from the path. But choose today the direction you want to go. And those roadblocks will be overcomable. They will not be deterrents to your achievement of your goals. Work hard. Don't ever sell yourself short, because you can be what you choose to be if you work hard and set your goals and keep focused on the mark. Use your potential. Seek help when needed. There are people here who are willing to help you. You have your own personal cheering section in the audience and among the teachers here at this school. So you have a cheering section. You have people who want you to do good.
All right, dumbass, let's try this again.